This is the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on News Talk 1190 WOWO. And now 92.3 FM. Visit them online at movingindiana.com. This hour will bring you the latest news and home trends in Fort Wayne and all of Indiana. Now, here's Tony and Sam.
Good morning. This is the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. I'm Tony Didier here from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Real Estate. Usually I have Sam alongside me as my partner in crime on the show, but Sam is unable to join us today, so we have Jess Harrison joining us, also from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber. How you doing, Jess?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Do you want to tell the people a little bit about yourself? Well,
my expertise with Coldwell Banker is in marketing and helping agents. I am a first-time home buyer. I just recently bought my first home last August, and I'm new to the whole meat and potatoes of the whole real estate and the process and how things go.
That's okay. Sam didn't provide much to the show anyway, so glad to have you on. You got some real some radio experience.
Poor Sam.
I hear. Yes.
Oh, yes, I do.
All right, so we're going to talk today a lot about statistics and the current state of the market, the state of the market address, and we're going to have some real estate professionals on the show later with lots of experience. We're going to have Bob Coffey joining us, who's the president of the Indiana Regional MLS. He'll be joining us on the phone. Also, we're going to have in studio with us later John Bellio and Patrick Maloblocki, owners of Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber, to give their insights as to the current state of the market. Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? What exactly has been going on in the market? What are some of the stats to back it up? We're going to go over all of that later. But first, Jess and I are going to talk a little bit about finding a home online. You probably are searching online already if you're looking for homes. How do you search? Where do you search? There's so many different real estate websites out there. And I got to tell you, movingindiana.com, our website, is the best way to search locally for a number of reasons. One of the reasons being that we have every home for sale on the market. We don't just have the Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber homes.
I was going to say, even if it's not with Coldwell Banker.
Exactly. Every home for sale, you can find it on there. And our agents, they can take you to see any of those homes for sale. So if you click right on those homes, request a showing or request more information, our agents can get back to you with detailed information on that property and take you through it and represent you in that transaction instead of just talking to the listing agent of that property who really has the seller's best interests in mind in most cases. Go to that website, see any home for sale, and not just in the Fort Wayne area, in the Allen County area. There are 6 different multiple listing services combined on movingindiana.com. So if you're looking for a lake property up on Lake James, if you're looking for any other sort of vacation home, or you're moving out of the area for work but still staying in northern Indiana and even southern Michigan, we have any home for sale in those areas too. You know, if you're looking for homes in South Bend. And some changes that we've had recently, and Bob Coffey, president of the Indiana Regional MLS, is going to talk a little bit more about this later. But one of the changes is some more homes have been added to our website, too, from other areas. Pretty soon, we're going to have most of the homes in the state on movingindiana.com.
What cities are there now?
Cities that are on there are Fort Wayne, Columbia City, Huntington, Elkhart, South Bend, Warsaw, Angola, and just everywhere in between. You name it. Waterloo, Ossian, Wakarusa, Syracuse, just any city you could think of with a funny name or a regular name is going to be... It's going to have homes for sale on movingindiana.com. That's why it's movingindiana.com, because there's homes all over Indiana.
Very clever.
I know. And we're not moving the whole state of Indiana, just moving people inside of Indiana to new homes. One thing that's new is we offer homes all the way over in Lafayette and Bloomington now.
Okay.
So it's the time of year where your kids, if they're just graduating from high school, have found out where they're going to school, and you got to try to figure out their living arrangements. You know, if you have students who are midway through college and, at Purdue or IU, they're home during the summer. Yeah, they got to find a place to live, and rent in those places can be outrageous, as well as room and board in the dorm rooms. So one thing that your realtor is now able to help you with, and you're able to look online yourself, is homes available in those cities. If you have kid going to IU and maybe they're the oldest, and perhaps some of those younger kids might be interested in going to Bloomington as well, you can find homes for sale in Bloomington on our website. That might even make more sense. I'm sure a mortgage at today's interest rates will be cheaper than the rent for your child going to Bloomington, and then the friends can live with them and also pay you rent. It's actually a really good investment to look at buying a home in a college town. I know I went to Bloomington myself. I got to tell you, I love it there. Hopefully I have some kids someday who go there and I can buy a home there, put them there and go visit and go to football games and basketball games. And same thing at Purdue. And also those lake homes. Can you find lake homes on our website?
You sure can.
That's right. You want to get out there and ski, show off your wakeboarding skills, get in a jet ski. There's, Lake Wawasee homes. There's Lake James homes. Any of the lakes in, the Angola area, the Warsaw area. We can find homes for sale on our website at movingindiana.com. Some other things to look for when you're looking at homes online is you can't really get a feel for the layout. So if you click that request for showing button, then one of our Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber agents will be happy to get right back with you and take you to go see that home in person. It's actually not much trouble at all if you just give the seller, 24 hours notice. You can get in and see the layout of that house. You can't really get a feel for a house by looking at the photos online.
There's also virtual tours on our website as well.
That's true. Any Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber listing has a video tour on YouTube along with the property, which is a unique feature to the website. So great place to search for the homes for sale and see more about the house. And you really are hoping to find a home with some good, marketing remarks and description in that little paragraph so you can tell more about it. And the full 30 pictures. You get 30 photos in the MLS. Our website, most of the properties have 30 photos. You get a good feel for what it's like to be in the property. Not only do we have every home for sale, but you know what we don't have? Every home not for sale. Some of those national websites, they put a lot of old data from the tax records and from previous sales of homes, and it's hard to tell which homes are actually for sale and which aren't. The data from our website comes straight from the multiple listing service, so it's timely and accurate.
So you don't fall in love with the house and then you want to go see it and it's been sold for a couple months already.
Yeah, that could happen on some of those national websites because it goes through a chain of events from the local board to our website, to the corporate Coldwell Banker website, to Realtor.com, to Trulia, to Zillow. By the time it gets down the line, it's taken 3 or 4 days to update all the information. Maybe the price is wrong. So definitely go to movingindiana.com for the most up-to-date information. Zillow.com it has information on every home. You could go on there right now. Your home's not for sale. I guarantee you it's on Zillow.com, and they have a price estimate for it and maybe some old photos from the last time you bought it.
It's very true. I actually checked my house last week, and it's still on there, and that was in August.
Exactly, and you wouldn't let somebody buy your house right now, would you?
Oh, no. I love my house.
Exactly. So at movingindiana.com, it's just the homes that are for sale and just the accurate information. Another reason to search on the site is right when you go to the homepage, you can type in the name of a neighborhood or a school district or even just the name of a street. If you type in Sycamore Hills, for example, as a street, the homes on Sycamore Hills Parkway will come up in the results in southwest Fort Wayne. If you go to Trulia.com right now and type in Sycamore Hills Parkway, you're going to have to jump through a lot of hoops. It's going to say, did you mean Sycamore Hills, Delaware? Did you mean Connecticut? Did you mean California? And odds are you're just going to start over and try to think of some other search parameter, but maybe you don't have the zip code for Sycamore Hills memorized. But on our website, you just type in whatever you know about the house, and you can find it really easily. And a lot of times, when you're looking for a home, not only is online a good place to search, but location is so important that a lot of times if you just drive around and check out some neighborhoods, you find a neighborhood or an area that you really like, and maybe you saw a yard sign and passed it on, got home, wanted to show your wife online or your husband online, and you want to show it to them, and all you remember is maybe the neighborhood or the street name. You just type in the neighborhood or street name, and that house is going to come up very easily. And you can also click on map search and zoom in on the map to the area you were just at and find that home for sale.
And it even saves your searches. So if you're out looking at houses and your wife or your husband can't go with you and you come home and you want to show them, you don't have to research everything. It's just right there, all of the information for you.
Yep, you can also click send to a friend and email them the listing right there. Now, not only can you search on a computer, obviously, but you can also search the mobile version on your smartphone, Droid, Apple, whichever you choose. You can also use a tablet. So keep that in mind when searching for homes. You can search anywhere. Movingindiana.com. If you have any real estate questions, you can contact us at sales@movingindiana.com. Email. Also on Twitter @movingindiana or Facebook.com/movingindiana. Tony here with Jess from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber on the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. And coming right up, we have Bob Coffey, president of the Indiana Regional MLS, to talk about how the market is right now, and also John Bellio and Patrick Maloblocki, owners of Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber, in studio talking about how the market is, how to price your home, and everything you need to know about the Indiana real estate market, which is what we're here for every Sunday at 10 a.m.
You're listening to the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show with Tony and Sam. Visit them online at movingindiana.com. You're listening to the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show with Tony and Sam on News Talk 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM.
We're back on the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. Tony Didier here along with Jess Harrison. Say hi, Jess.
Hello.
We're from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber in the marketing department, where we help homes look beautiful online for sale and in person. So call a Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber agent to sell your home. And we're talking a little bit about the state of the market in today's show. And we have a special guest on the phone with us. Joining us is Bob Coffey, president of the Indiana Regional MLS. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good, Tony. Thank you.
Do you want to start off by talking a little bit about the Regional MLS? And obviously it means more for realtors than for our listeners. But how does that affect them with all of the MLSs joining up?
Well, I'll tell you what we've done is honestly not been done on this level, even in a national scope. We brought together 13 different associations within the state of Indiana, where we each had our own separate MLS at one time. We have now come together as a larger group to form one large MLS. While we cover quite a bit of the state, we'll cover about a third of the realtors in Indiana with our regional MLS. One of the benefits of that is the amount of data that we'll be able to collect on a larger scope, and for the public, we will have a public-facing website where they will have access to basically almost 800,000 listings once everything's in. We'll cover basically from the northern part of the state around the east side, kind of around the east side and down around Indianapolis all the way to Evansville. So between the regional MLS, the MLS for the Metropolitan Board of Indianapolis, and the MLS for the Greater Northwest Association, between those three MLSs, can have listings from basically 95% of the state. So it's really kind of a big deal, and normally what you'd see in other large projects like this is they simply share their data with one another but maintain their own MLS. This is really the first time you've seen a group this large come together where they've all abandoned their previous MLSs and gone into one new MLS where everybody runs on the same system. So it's kind of a unique thing.
Now, Bob, that sounds awesome and great, but what exactly, for someone like me who maybe is learning about real estate, what does MLS stand for? What does all of that mean?
That's a great question, Jess. MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service. Basically, it's an acronym. It is the computer system that we use where we house all of the homes that are for sale. So if you came to me and you were looking for a particular home, you would give me your list of wants and needs. I would search through the MLS to find homes that match, and then we would talk about which ones that you like, and we'd set up showings and go look at houses. What we're seeing now is there is a trend, and you've seen sites like Realtor.com and Trulia and Zillow, where we send them our listings, and you can go out on those sites and look for homes as well. But now through the regional MLS, you'll be able to search homes from all of our 5,000 members. Like I said, it'll be almost 800,000 active listings. So you'll be able to go in and see anything that's available for sale within the region that we cover. So even if you're, a lot of times where MLSs are separate, you may be at, the top end of one of their ranges and and not be able to search over the county border just because that's a different MLS. Now we're giving you a much broader scope, and you can actually go set up your own searches. You can basically through a portal tell the system what you're looking for and be able to kind of manage your home search yourself. And we're seeing the public do a lot more of that than we ever have before.
That's right. So people can search in college towns. They can even look for lake homes just right here on the local sites and look at homes all across Indiana. And across Indiana with the real estate market, Bob, what is changing? What do you see in the market, and do you have any statistics that really point it out?
I watch the statistics pretty carefully, especially for my local market area, but I watch kind of all the markets that we operate in, and then on a little bit bigger scope, I do watch the state numbers. What we saw for May, and I realize that's, we're almost to July, but in an effort to make sure that our data is as solid as it can be, there's about a 3-week delay before these numbers come out. So we just got the numbers for May here at the end of June. One of the things we're seeing that I haven't seen in a little while is a change in new listings on a state level, where new listings actually went up by about 11% in May of 2013 over May of 2012. What we've been seeing over the last year and a half is a pretty steady decline in listings. People were not putting their homes for sale on the market, and I think that was a reflection of the fact that we had so much inventory in so many of our markets. It made the situation pretty competitive when you were trying to sell your home, what we refer to as a buyer's market. But what we've seen is we're starting to gain a little bit more momentum with the rate of sales. Last year we saw really tiny gains each month, but this year we're starting to see things pick up a little bit of steam, and as long as federal economic policy doesn't yank us off course, we're actually expecting this year to be a pretty good year for our real estate markets.
You said that it's basically a seller's market, and how inventory is down. What does that mean? What is that doing to the prices of houses right now?
Well, it's funny. I want to back up a little bit. It's funny that a lot of people, when they listen to the news stations like to quote the Case-Shiller report. The Case-Shiller report is put out by a couple of economists.
What is the Case-Shiller?
Yeah, it's put out once a month, and it basically looks at whether home prices in America are going up or going down and how the markets are performing. But what I find funny is the local news stations here in the Midwest report on the Case-Shiller report, but the Case-Shiller report only looks at the top 20 metropolitan markets in the country. So it's looking at cities like New York, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Dallas. It's looking at these large markets, and many of our markets in the Midwest don't operate that way. So when people listen to the Case-Shiller report and it says, housing prices have dropped again and housing sales have dropped again, well, they're talking about these really, really large metropolitan markets all the way along have operated better than what the Case-Shiller report shows. So sometimes it's a little frustrating when people listen to the news and they take, the Case-Shiller report as gospel for the Midwest, and the Midwest operates very, very differently, as our numbers show in the statistics that I just gave you. Now, in a lot of areas, we are shifting more towards a seller's market. What we like to see for a balanced market is about a 6-month supply. So if we go above that, we tend to start falling into a buyer's market. If we go below that, we start tending to fall into a seller's market. What we've run over the last year, and I'll use my own area where I'm in South Bend. In the South Bend area, really over the last year and a half, we've been running basically about a year's supply of homes. So we had more inventory and weren't selling it as quickly, making it advantageous for buyers. They had lots more choices. They had a lot more negotiating power. What we've seen since the beginning of this year is really interesting. Is we've shifted from almost a year's supply of homes, we're now down to about a 7-month supply of homes. So not perfectly in balance, but we've moved far enough back towards balance. One of the things we're seeing in our market that we haven't seen in a long time is competing offers on homes. Before there was so many to choose from. People, the buyers had that advantage. Well, now because inventory is shrinking, people are starting to compete for homes again. We're starting to see our showing levels go up. And so, you may end up with 2 offers on the same home, and, folks at that point then have to negotiate through both of those. So that's just something we haven't seen in quite a while. And that's great for home sellers. Now's a great time to get your home on the market. The only thing that we're watching right now is based on a statement made by the Federal Reserve last week talking about what might happen in the future. I guess that kind of rocked the market a little bit, and we saw mortgage interest rates go up by a full %. just last week, which is kind of unheard of. I mean, a 10% increase is a pretty big jump. So for them to jump a full percentage point was kind of remarkable. So we're trying to watch that, and hopefully things settle back down.
This is Bob Coffey with us, president of the Indiana Regional MLS here on the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show. Bob, I know you've had some experience in Fort Wayne and now the South Bend and Elkhart markets. Do those markets tend to be pretty similar?
Yes and no. Basically, with the housing stock, there are a lot of similarities to what's available. We're built a little bit differently economically. For example, in Elkhart County, as you know, Elkhart is the RV capital of the world, and that's kind of a recreational type industry. So when the economy tended to slow down, and we saw the real estate market slow down, Elkhart was hit almost harder than any other county in the state. Whereas in Fort Wayne is a good mix of manufacturing, it's a good mix of technology, good mix of services. Fort Wayne shows a little bit more stability, in my opinion. Where Fort Wayne shows a little bit more stability, the good news is we're seeing things in the market start to move in the right direction. We know that they've put a lot more people back to work in Elkhart County. Overall, when I look at the state of Indiana, things are going pretty well. Allen County, in the month of May versus May a year ago, was up about 16% in new listings. So again, we're seeing people start to bring their homes back on the market. They were up 17% in closed sales. Elkhart didn't show quite as strong a gain in new listings. They increased their listings by about 4% over May of 2012. Their closed sales were up just over 11%. So we're still starting to see that market fall back into balance. The numbers, in my opinion, have looked very, very strong. In our county, in St. Joe County, we didn't see a very huge gain in new listings. We were about the same as we were May a year ago, and our closed sales were up about 5%. But we are starting to see home prices stabilize. For example, in St. Joe County versus May of 2012, in May of this year, our median sales price was up 10%. And I'll say something about median sales. It tends to show some big jumps month over month or year over year. Median sales price, which is the statistic that everybody loves to quote, and they tend to quote it for a specific short period of time. Median sales is really something you want to watch over a longer period of time so you can see what trends are. So sometimes, like I said, in St. Joe County, where our median sales price was up 10%, that can sometimes be kind of a misnomer unless you're watching what's happened, over the last year. But we are seeing the trend move in the right direction. Prices are stabilizing for many of the areas in which our offices operate.
Before we wrap up, you've been talking a lot about statistics, but what's something you're really passionate about real estate? What brought you to do it?
What I'm passionate about is the industry itself. I mean, home ownership is the American dream. That's what people strive for. And to be able to help someone make it through that process, to find that home where they're going to raise their family or, their second home when they need to expand, things like that, that's what I love. I'm passionate about the industry that I work in. I don't just buy and sell houses for people. I'm actually involved. It's a great industry to be in, to be able to watch someone when they walk out of closing with the keys to their first house.
That's a good feeling.
Oh, it's the best. It really is.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for joining us. That's Bob Coffey, president of the Indiana Regional MLS, giving us some great information about what's going on in the real estate industry locally, in the state, and nationally. Bob, thank you so much for joining us.
Jess and Tony, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. We're Tony and Jess from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber. You can visit us at movingindiana.com. And coming up next, we're going to have John Bellio and Patrick Maloblocki, owners of Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber, in studio for some of their insights to share with us as well.
You're listening to the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on News Talk 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. This is the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on News Talk 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM.
Welcome back to the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. This is Tony Didier here from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber. Also have Jess Harrison with me here. We're in the marketing department, helping your homes look beautiful and have technologically advanced tools to sell your home with bright nice big photos, and virtual tours. Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber has the most cutting-edge marketing in the area for selling your home. You can find us online at movingindiana.com. And we just had Bob Coffey, president of the regional MLS, on the show, talking about some statewide numbers. And joining us now, we have John Bellio and Patrick Maloblocki, owners of Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber, to talk a little bit about the local market here and also what's going on around the country. So, John, how is the market right now in the local region?
Market right now is fantastic. It's a great time to sell. It's also a very good time to buy. You've noticed that inventory levels are low. I think we talked about that before. So if you've got a house to sell, you're probably going to get a little bit more value out of it today versus holding off and waiting. As more listings come on the market, there's going to be obviously more competition, which would reduce your pricing a little bit. Also, if you're buying a home, interest rates have also ticked up about 0.5% over the last 45 days. So based on that, you're going to be able to buy less home for the same amount of payment. So it's actually a really good time to buy. This is, as I keep saying, it's the perfect storm right now.
That's right. And interest rates are still low, correct?
Very, very low. Correct. Yeah. When I got in, they were a lot different, 17% for a house and 22% for a car. So this is a very good interest rate. We never thought we'd see these rates again, and here they are.
What about some other numbers, Patrick, that tell you, where the market's at now? How can you tell?
Well, it's funny. When we go out in the real estate community, we go out to the grocery store. If I have a Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber golf shirt on, inevitably
Which he does all the time, I might add, his wife says.
Or dress shirt or blazer or something to that effect. Inevitably, I'll get asked, how's the market? How's the real estate market? How's the home sales?
And how would you answer that today?
Today, it's night and day different than it was 18, 24 months ago. It's gone from being a strong buyer's market to now a very strong seller's market. Almost every metric in terms of supply has gone down in the last 15, 18 months. The number of homes on the market, the month's supply of inventory, that's all gone down, but everything else is going up. The number of buyers coming into the market, the number of homes that are getting an accepted offer on them each month has gone up every month for 23 consecutive months, year over year versus the year before. Number of closed sales has gone up every month for 18 months versus year over year the year before. So it's just a real strong time to sell. As a buyer, it's a smart time to buy. John talked about interest rates, and they've ticked up slightly, yeah, but they've ticked up from what were all-time historic lows, and being in the low fours is just an incredible way to buy money.
What about the time of year? Is there a difference seasonally where it, may seem like a better time to buy or sell?
Historically, in northern Indiana, the strongest times have been spring through fall. Winter, it slows down because of holidays, but there's still a lot of real estate that gets moved in the winter months. The reason for the seasonality of it is more people want to move in the summer. People with children want to move in the summer and be in place before the next school year starts. But there's a lot of real estate moving every month of the year.
And that's why we call it the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show,
very
right,
clever,
John?
Tony. Very clever.
So, John, inventory is low, and you hear that, month supply of inventory is less and less. What exactly does that mean?
Basically, what that means is that right now we have about a 4.5 to 5 months supply of inventory. So if we did not list another home today, in about 5 months, we would be out of homes to sell. The old communist block. You can't buy real estate here. So we don't want to get into that situation. That's why we're looking for more inventory, obviously. And with prices going up, it's a great time to put your home on the market. So there's a lot going on with statistics. Pat's got a whole bunch of them there in front of me. Let him jump in here a little bit.
Yeah,
boy.
It's the stats are fun. It's the summertime heat of the market. But John talked about the inventory being as low as 4.5 to 5 months, and just as a comparison, if you looked in May of 2011, that number was 9. So it was about double the amount of time it would take to sell out all the inventory. The number of homes on the market is around 3,000 right now in our local marketplace. Go back 2 years, it was about 4,200. So it's drastically different. There's a lot of buyers out there that our Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber agents are working with that can't find the home they're looking for. They want something that is move-in ready in a lot of cases, as we talked about in previous shows. They want something that they can envision themselves in, and those aren't coming around for a lot of the buyers that are looking right now. And we just, as John said, listings are gold. If someone has a nice house in a nice location and they're even thinking of moving, it's worth a call to a CBRWG realtor to find out what it's worth and find out what they can do.
You know, it's a good point. We have so many people, and this is a little bit of a competitive advantage that we have with our company. With nearly 400 agents in the region, we have inventory that's coming on the market. So we will, before it even hits the market, we go out on a listing presentation. We've got a cousin who's getting their house ready to sell, and we can talk about that in our sales meetings and let everybody else know that we've got a property coming on the market. So we're actually letting our agents know about properties before they hit the market, which is great. So everybody that's working with us on the buyer side has access to that ahead of time. Conversely, all of our agents that are working with buyers that can't find what they want, they're talking about that as well in the sales meetings, in the offices and such. So we're getting the word out that, hey, I'm looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, home with a 4-car garage, blah, 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 whatever it might be, with a pool. And then somebody's going to say, hey, I know somebody like that. I just sold these people a home 6-7 years ago. Let me call them up. So we're doing a whole lot of networking, which is really nice. It's good to see the activity within the offices. And the agents are really helping each other because they understand we're all in the same boat. And that's a great advantage for us, as opposed to maybe a company with 2 or 3 or 4 people, not bashing a smaller firm, but they just don't have the activity within the offices, to help out in that regard.
And if a buyer is looking online trying to find that right home for them and it's not there, what can they do to make sure that when it hits the market day one that they know about it and can go see it? Because those properties are usually, hot properties.
Well, like the answer to many questions, call Coldwell Banker, Roth, Wehrly, Graber, Realtor. There's a few different tools that we can use to ensure that the second something hits a market and becomes active, which means it's now live and for sale in our multiple listing service, which is our realtor database, if you will. The second that hits the market, one of our professional CBRWG realtors will ensure that buyer gets emailed instantly. And that realtor will get emailed instantly. So if the buyer is not right in front of their email, the realtor can call them and say, something just hit the market in Sycamore Hills. That's where you've been looking. Let's go see it. Show it that same day. We also have on our movingindiana.com website Property Watch, which essentially functions the same way, and you can go in and set up a search that will automatically notify you of something that you're looking for.
By email, but if you don't have your phone on you or aren't at a computer, it will not tap you on the shoulder and let you know that house is for sale.
No, nor will it slap you in the face.
We need more technology, Tony. We've got to be able to reach out and touch them quicker.
So with all these homes selling in a day, if you are currently living in a home and thinking about selling and you've been looking at the market looking for a house that you'd be okay to move into for your next house because you want to be a little picky, you want to get the right house, maybe you find that house and they're selling in a day. That's also happening. So, John, how should you time that up? I mean, do you want to wait for that house to come on the market and then put your house up for sale? Do you want to just put your house up for sale and hope for the best? How does that work?
We're seeing some of that as well, Tony, where people are putting offers on homes and they're trying to make a contingent offer, contingent upon them selling their home. And quite honestly, with the market as strong as it is right now for sellers aren't willing to take those offers. And if you do take that offer, they're going to take that at a much higher price. So you're not getting a very good deal. So it's just not usually the best way to go. Probably the best way to go right now would be to put your home on the market currently. And then
because they're selling, right?
Because they're selling. And then, put it on the market at a nice, reasonable price, get it all prepped, as we talked earlier, and then have a longer period of time to close. And that longer period of time to close, which we can help adjust that for you, would give you plenty of time to find a new home. Because there's homes coming on the market, every single day. In fact, the inventory coming on the market, it's stronger every month. There's more and more listings coming on. So there's a lot to choose from. The problem your people are running into is they're selling so quick. But if you've already got yours on the market and you get an offer on it and it's just subject to you finding a new home and or just a longer delayed closing process, that makes it so much easier. But we'll talk more in detail with that individually with you because everybody's circumstances are a little different.
So real quick, Patrick, so you probably want to just put your house on the market then and be ready when that house comes on the market, correct? Do you have any more tips for people looking to buy or sell right now?
No, there's no right answer. It's going to vary by person. There's people that we all know in the real estate community that have sold their home and have not yet found the house. Maybe they're being picky. You want to be picky. You're moving in. If you're moving up, if you're a move-up buyer, you want to make sure that you're spending that money, which is far and above what you might have spent on your first home. You want to find the right home. So you find people that are moving into temporary housing or moving back in with parents in some instances. But there's no right answer, and everything, as John said, everything's negotiable. If you're selling your home, you can negotiate a longer time till closing. You can negotiate out when the buyer actually takes possession. All those things can be worked out with a buyer in a transaction. So,
Tony, I sold my house, the last one, and we negotiated with the buyer that we would stay in that home for 3 months longer after closing. We just rented it back from them. And it worked out perfectly for them because they weren't quite ready to make the move, but our house came on the market and it was the perfect home for them. There's always those situations out there.
I wasn't quite that smart. I got stuck with a couple months of double mortgage bills, but we found the right house and we had to move on it, and fortunately we were able to do that. But that's happened too. If you find the right house that you know is your dream house, it's got everything you're looking for, and you've been looking for a year or a year and a half or 6 months, whatever it is. Sometimes you just gotta do it. So, like I said, everybody's different.
So, bottom line, if you're in your mind thinking about making a move and homes are selling quickly and it's a good seller's market, if you're already mentally ready to go, might as well put that house on the market, and then you'll find the house for you, and your Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber Realtor will help you figure out all the details. You can find us at movingindiana.com. Also at movingindiana.com, you can find any home for sale in the area, and also open houses. And after the break, we're going to come back and talk about some of the open houses you can check out later on this afternoon. Jess and I will be going through all those homes. So if you're out and about, make sure you check out some open houses. This is the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. Reach us at movingindiana.com. You can also email us any question about real estate you may have. We'll be glad to help you in a timely manner at sales@movingindiana.com. John and Patrick, thanks for being on the show in studio here with us. It's John Bellio, owner of Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber Real Estate, and Patrick Maloblocki, also president of Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber. Guys, thanks for your insight, and we hope to have you on more in the future.
Thank you, Tony.
It's been a pleasure.
You can also follow us on Twitter at Moving Indiana, Facebook.com/Moving Indiana, and go ahead and post on those and let us know what you would like us to talk about on future shows. We could send you the podcast of the show online on YouTube, and you can listen anytime, and we'll be glad to give you any tips or advice for you or anyone you know who may be buying or selling in the near future. So that's movingindiana.com. This is the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO, now 92.3 FM, and we'll be right back.
This is the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on News Talk 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. Visit them online at movingindiana.com. You're listening to the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show with Tony and Sam on News Talk 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM.
We're back on the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. Tony Didier here with Jess Harrison from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber. And it's Sunday. There's some open houses later this afternoon that some of our fine agents at Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber are hosting. And how can you find them? You can go to your computer or just right there on your smartphone, go to movingindiana.com, and all you got to do is click the open houses button. On your computer, it's right there at the top of the screen. On your app, scroll down to the open house button. It's real big. Click it. You can see some houses that you can go check out later today. It's always good fun, even if you're not in the market. But if you are, can't beat the opportunity to get in a house in person.
Hey, some have free food even.
I know. Some have desserts. So go in those houses, check them out. Good thing to do with your Sunday afternoon. But before we get going, we have Kevin Hunter from Windows, Doors, and More. It's our weekly segment with Windows, Doors, and More, and we're looking for ways to improve the value of your home. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're doing good. This week, let's talk about siding. When is it time to evaluate the siding on your home?
Well, first of all, a lot of people do siding for different reasons. I mean, the obvious one is you have missing pieces, pieces of soffit, fascia, the actual siding itself on the walls. That is a barrier to keeping moisture from getting in behind the siding, which would eventually get into the wall cavity. So that's an obvious reason why you'd have to do siding. The other reason would be is just to get rid of the painting aspect of whether it would be wood siding or aluminum siding, to basically eliminate the maintenance, if you would, of caring for that product.
What are some of those trouble signs we should look for in our own siding?
first and foremost, if you have wood siding, you're going to want to make sure that either you have a very good coat of paint or a very good sealer on that to keep water from penetrating that particular wood. And then the other things you're going to look for is in your if you have chalking situation on aluminum siding. Again, eventually, it's going to wear through, and then you're going to want to get another coat of paint on the aluminum itself. That's not as devastating as the wood aspect, but those are the things that you got to do, and then ultimately, then just keep it washed down, keep it clean, make sure that you don't have landscape debris up and over onto the siding, because that's just a surefire way to get moisture to start wicking up through wood siding and so forth. So you want to have a break between the siding and the ground itself, and not have mulch packed up against it, because you're just asking for issues.
Now, I'm wondering the difference between your standard siding and the best siding on the market. What are the advantages of getting the best siding?
Siding can be, again, it's a very much a cosmetic product, but at the same time, it eliminates water from penetrating the home itself. So what we prefer to use is an insulated vinyl siding panel that we call polar wall that provides an R5 to the insulation value of the home. It's a very solid panel, so if you push on it like you do traditional siding where it pushes in, this doesn't. This is solid because it has a built-in foam substrate in behind it, and that's what we prefer to use, because that just eliminates some of the bowing and twisting issues that you can find with your lower grade vinyls, and also improve the insulation value of the home all at the same time.
Are there any other warning signs that a home's siding may need some work?
Well, again, missing pieces is going to be a big red flag. You just don't want to have access for moisture to enter in behind the existing siding. That's one big sign. The other one would be if you see a lot of oxidation or discoloration. That's another very good sign. And then ultimately is, checking your utility bills, winter and summer, and seeing what your home's utilities are compared to those around you, whether you could check through a neighbor or even check through the company that you go through for your energy or power, that then they could give you an average of what your home should be running. And again, this is also a great way of insulating and reducing utility bills as well.
If someone needed help evaluating their siding, how can they reach you at Windows, Doors, and More?
Best way to reach us is to stop into our neighborhood showroom on Washington Center Road, or call us and we'll come out and give you a free evaluation of your home and provide you with a free estimate. Never a charge for us to come out and look at your property and give you suggestions and ideas.
What's the number at Windows, Doors, and More?
It's 422-7077.
Kevin Hunter, president of Windows, Doors, and More, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you for having me this morning.
All right, that's about all we have for this week on the Moving Indiana Real Estate Show. Be sure to join us next week at 10 a.m. from 10 to 11, where we give you updates on the real estate market, tips for your own home, and bring in some professionals like Kevin to answer some questions in only way that people with experience can answer. Information we can all benefit from, every homeowner in the area. So go to movingindiana.com to search any home in the area that's currently for sale and to get more information on buying and selling your home, and the wonderful company we have that has 12 offices across northern Indiana all the way up to Elkhart and South Bend, and that's been family owned and operated for over 40 years. We're on 1190 WOWO and now 92.3 FM. Can't wait to join you next week. This is Tony here with Jess from Coldwell Banker Roth Wehrly Graber, and have a great day.